Welcome to Enjoy Fort Wayne. This episode is brought to you by the Wiening Farmers Market and highlights the 350 vendors that make up the #1 market in the state of Indiana.
Logan, Wiening, Old Fort Baseball Co.
And how long have you owned that?
About 2.5 years.
Okay, so not a terrible long time, really.
No.
So are you from Fort Wayne originally?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and when you graduated high school, did you go to college and the whole 9 yards?
Yeah, so I graduated from Bishop Dwenger in 2013 and went to Ball State for just one semester, and then transferred back to IPFW so that I could continue. I was interning with the Mad Ants at the time.
Oh, nice.
So I came back in order to keep doing that internship and ended up there for 6 seasons between intern and full-time.
A trivia question for Adam Marino is, did you know that for 1 year I ran the Jumbotron scoreboard there?
I did not. Must have been early.
Trivia.
It must have beat me to it, or it was late. Was
late.
It recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the last seasons, as they are no longer with us. But yeah. So it was fun to work with the Mad Ants and
you didn't
some
have
of the cool
me yelling
stuff.
at you. If you'd have been there when I was there, I'd have been yelling at you the whole game.
Right. Yeah. It was fun. But Kelly Johnson.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So he was who I reported to and stuff.
Gotcha.
But, yeah. Very cool.
That's fun.
Fun organization to work with. Okay, so that's how you kind of got going. What did you want to be when you grow up? Did you want to own,
I think probably there was always a part of me, I think, that had like an entrepreneurial thing and spirit to me, but I really wanted to work in sports, and that was my goal. So when I started, I interned, like I said, starting my senior year of high school because I quit playing basketball. I didn't play my senior year. So I was trying to fill some time and just kind of reached out on a whim to the team. So got in and then was just absorbing everything I could to be around the industry. So I really picked up a ton of industry knowledge and really fell in love with it. I mean, really before I even went to college, but then throughout college. So that was what I wanted to do. And then I picked up graphic design during that time. I was self-taught designer just from kind of being around the office and playing around with Photoshop and stuff on the computer that was there, and really found a love for that. So it kind of then shifted more creatively off of sports, but really working in game entertainment and stuff was always a big push for me.
So when I hear like design and sports and whatever, I think instantly of making sports logos and playing around with it and having fun. Was that a thing? Or not necessarily at that time? Is that just me?
Not really. I mean, that was a thing. It just wasn't really what I was doing. Most of what I was doing at that time was social media focused stuff because you can put out about anything. And I was, working for the team. They didn't have anybody that was a designer on staff. We outsourced all of our like big projects to a freelancer. So really they just kind of let me do whatever, and we're like, yeah, this looks great. And we were putting things out that now I look back and I can't believe, like, we were running billboards that I made that should have never seen the light of day. Yeah, they were not good, but it was better than what we were doing at the time, and it was more efficient than outsourcing. So really the logo work and doing some of that more in-depth stuff came later. As I kept growing and learning more, I would start to take that on because I always found it interesting.
Yeah. All right. So then take us through the story of how you came to be. If it was only, a couple years ago, you had the idea, I'm sure more than just a couple years ago, but what was the time where you're like, all right, I am doing this?
Yeah. So really the idea isn't much older than the actual company. I really have always followed a lot of companies and brands that do really cool design work in the sports field, whether it is people doing logos for minor league baseball or professional teams, or
the slugs.
Or companies selling cool merchandise and things like that. Art always was interested in that, but never, I didn't want to do the thing that everyone else was doing. I didn't want to just redesign NFL logos and put them on social. Like, I didn't want to do that because everybody's doing that and doing it better than I could have done. So it just that wasn't something I was interested in. So
know thyself.
Yeah, exactly. So I was trying to find something that would whether, it could have even just been something that gained me a following on social under my own name. Like if that was the thing that I was just like redesigning old arena football logos or something silly that was unique. That's really what I wanted. But then I started toying around with some ideas around Fort Wayne baseball and coming up with things like that. The thing that really started it was I had an idea that I never did and then have kind of looked at doing again now that the company's grown, was doing baseball themed logos and designs for local businesses in Fort Wayne. So, like a Coney Island baseball theme where it's like a hot dog swinging a baseball bat. And it would be like the Coney Island Wieners or the Coney Island, steamed buns or something like that.
So already my wheels are turning for the other business I own, Brewhound.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a dog holding a beer mug.
Right.
And like, what if he had a baseball bat in his hand and it was the Brewhound batters?
Yeah. So
right?
Like
Did I just come up with already?
Exactly. I will hit you up on that for sure. But so
we
that
made
was like the idea,
right?
Yeah, that was the idea I had, and then it kind of fleshed itself into I was sketching out just what ended up being our logo for Old Fort Baseball, and then was kind of started putting some more ideas together with Daisy's stuff and Kikianga's stuff and tin caps colored things, obviously not tin caps specific, but some of that stuff, and just kind of took a flyer on it and was able, the way that the industry works now and the internet, you can try about anything at pretty low risk. So I was able to find a company that does print on demand shirts where I wasn't investing in inventory. I could just throw stuff up online, and if nobody bought it after 3 months, I'd just be like, well, that was a stupid idea, and I take it down. And that was it. And luckily that's not what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So was it sounds like it wasn't slow going at first then? It kind of started like right away to a little bit take off, would you say? Or?
No, it was slow. It was definitely slow. I think friends and family would share some stuff. I knew enough people within sports to I knew who to tag with social posts and some of that, so I could kind of get some of that traction early on. And connecting, one of the first people I connected with was Jim Shovlin, who he's huge in Fort Wayne baseball community. He's the president of the Northeast Indiana Baseball Association, I think.
Of course.
Yeah.
Great guy.
He was my PA announcer when I was at the Mad Ants. So
Same.
So I reached out to him.
Sat right next to him, running the board. Yeah.
He's great. I love Jim. So I reached out to him and was like, hey, let's go get lunch. I want to talk to you about this. So, he listened, liked the idea. And first thing he said was, well, come on my show, because he does a Saturday morning
Talking
sports show.
Yep.
So he early on was like, yeah, come on in. So like the next Saturday I'm on the radio talking about it, which
is cool.
It's cool. And for me, it was just validating of like, there's something here.
Yeah. Like, okay,
so
this is a good idea. He wouldn't just do that.
Exactly.
He'd be like, cool, let me know how it goes for you.
Exactly.
If he wasn't interested.
Yeah.
The fact that he did that already was like, okay, like you said, the validation of I need to continue doing this.
That was what, and I think a lot of small businesses, it's not that you expect, like nobody in their right mind is really thinking I'm going to become a millionaire right away or ever, like doing what I'm doing. It's not going to be something that's going to make me millions of dollars.
Correct.
But getting that validation from, the first time you're getting social media likes from people you don't know that are just like, this is cool.
It's a cool thing.
You automatically go, okay, there's reason to keep going, and there's some more to explore here.
When strangers like your stuff, you're like, whenever I see, we'll run an ad for Brewhound and complete strangers comment and say, this looks so cool. Yeah. Like, okay.
Exactly.
Like, and there are a ton of friends and family that with the bus, but like, still, it is a cool feeling when you can legit have strangers think your business is cool and want to purchase and like, so and the market lends itself to that then obviously too. But okay, so then let's hear about the Wow and I Farmers Market story. How did that come about where you had already this business, you were making some sales, you're not a millionaire, that's fine, no, none of us are, but like, okay, next step was right away to do that or not necessarily?
So I think I launched the site in July of 2021, and I don't think I did the market until 2022. So we go to the market all the time, my wife and I and our dogs. we lived in West Central at the time, so we walked there almost every weekend, especially when the weather was nice. So I was very familiar with it, and kind of saw.
And
that
you
it
see
would
clothes,
fit in.
you see.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
First and
knew
Wilkerson
exactly
is a vendor, and that does this hoodie that I'm wearing.
Exactly.
I mean,
so seeing their stuff and just thinking, man, this is what I need to do to get awareness, because there's so much traffic at the market that there's, without a huge budget to spend on advertising, how else are you going to get people
you
to
pay
see
for the
you?
vendor space, and it's not $1 million. So
yeah,
it's
essentially it's free advertising. There's a vendor fee, but you're gonna, as long as you sell something, you're covering that, and then it's free advertising. So that was when I kind of took the flyer on, all right, I'm going to buy some inventory. I'm going to build some of that up. Because before I wasn't holding any inventory. It was all print on demand.
That's right.
So
So that was different.
I connected with a local screen printer who is also a one-man operation. It was a family friend of my wife's, but he's doing huge screen printing business right now. So working with him and building up that inventory. And so I did, I think I did 1 or 2 I signed up for that first year and did really well. Not that, again, you're not selling tons and tons, but enough, again, that validation of people are into this. There's something here. So kept doing it. And, it's grown to now where I don't do it every week, but I hopefully next year will do it every week, because I'm getting messages all the time on Instagram. Hey, are you going to be there this weekend? I need to pick something up. Or are you here next week? I need to show this to so-and-so, and some of that. So
that's a good feeling.
It's huge for me, just because regardless of what I sell on a week, it's the people I talk to and the people I meet and the brand awareness for me locally.
Yeah.
You're reaching people that you might not reach on social media. You reach a lot of the same people, but you're going to reach people outside of, baseball realms and things like that.
No, 100%. That is so cool. Let's talk a little bit about some Fort Wayne history, some baseball history. There's a few go-to stories that you've told many times. I've heard them, but there's just so many people that listen to this that I think you'd kind of like, oh wow, and we like to have those moments on the show.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorites that you can get into about like Fort Wayne baseball history?
Yeah. So the go-to one that's an easy quick fact drop is that the first professional baseball game was played in Fort Wayne in 1871.
1871.
Yeah.
Again, listen to that, guys. 1871. Not even the 1900s, and not even close. No. 1871.
And it was a totally like unrecognizable style of baseball at that point.
Yeah.
Similar rules, but
it was, the pitching was like, the idea was for them to hit
underhand.
It, right? Yeah. The idea was for them to hit it,
yeah.
not for them to try and get them out with throwing it like it is now. That's a huge thing.
Very different. But, that game put Fort Wayne on the map, obviously. Baseball at that time was very Midwest centric, so there is a lot of just historical things. We have done some stuff with the General Electric team, which was a semi-pro team that won multiple, the Voltmen, as they were called when they were sponsored by GE, won 3 straight national championships in the National Baseball Congress World Series, which is a league that is going to celebrate their 90th tournament this upcoming year. So it's a huge. Satchel Paige played in that tournament. Barry Bonds played in that tournament. Like, you look at the list of people that played in that tournament over 90 years is impressive. And Fort Wayne won with different sponsors, I think 6 or 7 times in the 40s and 50s. So, the history there, and baseball is so ingrained in this community. And then the Fort Wayne Daisies women's team that played, from the movie League of Their Own, that league, they actually played here in Fort Wayne at Memorial Park, and that field still stands. You can go out there and the bleachers are gone, but you can see where the bleachers were, and you can see, that they were getting thousands of people to watch that team here on a weekly basis or daily basis in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, that's wild. And the team that was more so featured on A League of Their Own, that team played for sure in Fort Wayne.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have pictures of ads of, the Rockford Peaches versus the Daisies, newspaper ads and things like that saying Memorial
Incredible.
Park. And, I do a ton of research into, just finding all of
and
that
it's
kind
fun.
of stuff. It's so much
mean,
fun.
Yeah.
I still find new things that I didn't know or, little bits of things that you didn't realize existed. So there's so much out there.
So talking about Fort Wayne and has it changed? What's one of the coolest things about Fort Wayne as you've been here now for so long? Yeah. Over the last 5, 10, 20 years that you've seen that is the most exciting thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a very similar answer to a lot of people you ask that. It's downtown. It's the growth of downtown and the sense of community around downtown.
Yeah.
I grew up out north, not super far out north, like by Northrop. So in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, that was about as far north, that was far north.
For sure. For sure.
But, now we've lived in West Central. We live by Foster Park now. So we're still close to downtown.
Yeah.
All the events and the restaurants and the shops and the market and things like that are downtown that are so easily accessible and fun and give you something to do and give you that big city feeling without the kind of the chaos and the expense and all of that. It's unbelievable when you realize that you can drive into a downtown as impressive as Fort Wayne. Especially I've talked to people from out of town. They're impressed by downtown Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
But I can still, tonight to come here, I'm parked across the street on the road.
Yeah.
For free. It was, no big deal. And just walk over. And it's great. And if I want to leave and go get a cup of coffee on my way home, you can do that. And so it provides you everything that you would want in a city without the things that you necessarily don't want
in a big city like Chicago or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. That's awesome. Okay, so the last question that I always ask is, the mayor has commissioned you to provide a message to our entire city. Now it's either going to be flown on a plane by Fred Grody or on the AEP building or whatever it is, a building even bigger than that. Where the whole 260 can see it. Yeah. And you are providing the message. So what does it say?
Well, I could say support local baseball, but that, as my shirt says.
It's
it could be.
I mean.
Yeah, I really do think, sports, obviously I'm biased, but I don't know. Baseball is not solely the answer, but I think it's really spotlighting the good that sports can do in a community, and especially a community like Fort Wayne. I mentioned baseball because that's where I started this company because of that history. But, we're starting to even look outside of baseball now. We're doing some high school stuff, and looking into some other sports as well on smaller scales. But the camaraderie and the community that is built by sports in this community in Fort Wayne is so important. And I think people do realize that. I mean, Parkview Field built downtown.
No kidding.
And the Comets, what they've done in this community, and whether you're a fan, whether you go to a lot of games, the fact that everyone in this city knows who that is and is on the same page about that, I think that goes unappreciated when you're looking at these communities that they just cycle through teams.
Yeah.
Whether it's baseball, hockey, basketball, we have similar things with basketball like that, where not everybody's always familiar with what's going on and it changes a lot. But, and then the youth sports and all of that, I think does so much to put Fort Wayne on the map that it's really important that we keep kind of leaning into that and building on that.
I am a huge sports nerd and love Fort Wayne. Obviously, it's why I'm doing this with you. I mean, so you're preaching to the choir then for sure. Yeah. I agree with that answer wholeheartedly. And I will end this by saying, how can you not be romantic about baseball?
It's hard. I don't know. It's really, especially when you've got such a great park like we do with Parkview Field.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love it? Everyone loves
even
it.
if you don't even like baseball,
Yeah.
you like going to the game. Don't
That's
lie.
the thing.
Don't lie to us on this podcast.
That's
people.
the thing.
We know you.
Nobody, the environment of baseball is something, and it's
A kid eating a hot dog.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
and that's going down a whole different road of our Support Local Baseball initiative that we do, is really spotlighting that in different communities, because different communities across this country have such unique and different ways that they enjoy baseball, but they're all based on that fact that everybody loves it. It's accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
Like it, or, like the sport or not, everyone can enjoy their time at a baseball game.
Yeah, 100%. And remember, every Saturday from 9 to 1, the Wildlife Farmers Market, and you can catch Logan, get all of his gear, pins. I was there a couple weeks ago at his booth, and I mean, he's got just everything that you can think of. So thank you for being here, and we will catch you at the market.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. This podcast is brought to you by Coraggio Media. The show is edited by me and sponsored by the Wildlife Farmers Market. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest updates. We will see you next week, where we will be sure to show you how you can enjoy Fort Wayne.